Right, hi Stephen.
Right.
Thanks for jumping on this. Just as a bit of a background for why we're doing the video. Stephen's from Lone Wolf Vision, and the head chair are going to be doing some guided meditation and mindfulness courses with Stephen running through February. So rather than do a massive essay on Facebook and Instagram about what it entails, we thought we'd best off just jump on and do a quick 10-minute video so people can meet Stephen and we can have a bit of a thrash it out as to what's happening. So do you maybe just want to just give a quick bit about yourself, your background and how you got into what it is that you're doing?
Feels like a job interview, this.
No, I'm trying to make it as informal as possible.
Yeah, I'm only joking. Obviously, Sam's already said, name's Stephen. Run a business called Lone Wolf Vision. I'm originally from Whitton Gilbert, so you probably know that for the people listening. I'm guessing the same village you group, Sam, isn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah, but I sort of went away and just sort of tell a little bit about myself and then a bit about the course. I went into the army at the age of like 20-year-old. Was in there for 10 years in the Royal Army Physical Training Corps. Traveled all over the world with that. And to be honest with you, I take mindfulness courses now. That's the whole reason we're sort of chatting at this moment in time. I didn't just like fall upon that from being in the military. It's not like 28-year-old in the army, just ended up getting a lot of like mental conflict, I suppose. And it wasn't anything to do with like going into war zones and, having PTSD or anything like that. I just generally think that I was quite an anxious kid growing up and used exercise to sort of which does help with things like that, but I think I used exercise. Yeah, used different ways to sort of try and mask it as such. Probably trying to, going into the military, trying to like push into it a little bit. But then at 28-year-old, had a big sort of, I suppose, a breakdown, to be honest with you, where I had to really look at myself and understand who I was underneath the surface. Without going too deep here. But that sort of projected me on a path of looking at things, actually quitting the army, and then I've solo traveled through the world for about sort of 5 years. And a couple of places I went to, I started to like learn a little bit about meditation. I'll travel through India and Nepal. And started to learn some meditation techniques, as well as like doing the usual sort of YouTube stuff. It didn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like going to Nepal and going to meditate with monks and things like that. But I learned, and that sort of stimulated the journey, I suppose. And then I started to like really go deep into it and understanding what it actually was, and that was like the eastern side of meditation and mindfulness. But I wanted to, off the back of all this like solo traveling and like sort of self realization that I was going through, I came back to the area at the age of about 34-year-old, about 4 years ago when I started the business. And I wanted to like try and bring some of that like Eastern knowledge and make it suit the Western lifestyle. So just taking some of the bits out that I thought didn't really relate, and then bringing in and making it relate to our culture. And it's like hit the ground running, and it's been developing over the last sort of 3 years into a course that I actually started off teaching bits of meditation when I was in the military to army personnel, and got really good feedback. It was like, because I used to do rehabilitation like with injured soldiers, and they said it was the best part of the course. So I was like, oh, there's something in this. And then when I started the business, I've taught meditation to different population groups, like the police. Okay, so like the local police. So there's loads of loads of people can benefit from it. It's just making it accessible and giving people like tools and systems. And that's where, you know, from the military side of things, it's such a like a world, the mindfulness and like meditation world. There's so much information out there, but it's just bringing it into like a system that works. And that's from my like military background, is processes, systems, structure.
Yeah.
And that sort of has created a course that, you know, if you look at like Google reviews and things like that on it, it's got really great feedback in terms of being able to like just mold your mind into a way that you want it to work for you yourself. That's a quick snapshot.
Yeah. I think it's so obviously we got in touch with you and the reason being, obviously we know you and you're local, obviously we know your background, and we just, for me personally, I had a few struggles recently. Very occasionally I can struggle with anxiety and stuff like that too. And I realized like how important the whole mindfulness and the meditation thing was for me. But then I also realized like I'm very open-minded, so I'll try anything really. But I know a lot of people, when they hear the term mindfulness, when they hear the term meditation, they think like what you said, like in bloody temples in Nepal, or you know, the whole fingers and all of this.
Exactly.
Like, and I'm trying to, I'm really trying to break down those barriers, because it's so important. It's my single, like you mentioned there, and I speak to people constantly about exercise, but with exercise, it's really good because it produces endorphins and that, but often you're treating the effect and kind of not the cause. So I think for mindfulness, I mean, obviously it's got a number of different kind of definitions. For me, what I find it gives us is when I'm in this anxious mode and everything's going 1,000 miles an hour, it just it gives me that ability to slow it down and then just create some space. So like I'm not reacting all the time. I can understand what's going on. Like often if your head's going 1,000,000 miles an hour, you can't see the wood through the trees. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why you feel like this. You can't process anything. You can't understand anything. So for me, when I tell people, like, obviously I'm going to be doing this course because I want to learn more. For me, it's just, I just slow things down. I just concentrate on my breathing. I just have no phone, no internet, nothing. Just kind of the end of the day in the bath. It's that simple for me, and that tends to kind of work. But so I think it's so important, is what I'm trying to say. And it's not anywhere near like what people think it is, or it can be, but for it to work for people, I think, you know, I think you just need to be more open-minded. Do you want to, so like, what we're doing? So it's like a 4-step course we're doing with you, isn't it?
So like, it's exactly like you're saying there, Sam. Like when I liken meditation to like a train, right? So you being the person sitting on the train looking outside, and when the train's going like 100 miles an hour, you're trying to look out at what's going on in terms of your thoughts and actions and behaviors, and you can't see anything because it's going so fast. So like what meditation does facilitate at the start is just slowing things down. Now, sometimes when you do slow things down, what the difference is with like, you know, being reactionary is just being someone that doesn't really know the thoughts that they're having, the behaviors that they're having, but just slowing things down, it gives you a picture of what's actually going on. So you're able to see the view, and sometimes it's things that are pretty, sometimes it's not, but it's at that point when the mind has slowed down is that you can start to create changes. If it's quick, you can't do that, and you're not in that space to be able to do it. So that's why I create like this, I say like a 4-stage course. And the first part is, so the different 4 modules is harnessing the breath. And basically that's just about like trying to take you out of your head into your body, which allows you to slow down and connect to like what feelings are going on there. Because when we get stuck in psychological time, like in our head, we lose connection to the body, and it's a really good like internal compass that allows you to like understand feelings and also like process them. So that's the first part, is like using your breath, bringing yourself back to a state of equilibrium, through the one thing that you have got at all times, your breath. Okay. In short, there's a full like week on that, obviously. The second week is based around like perception. You know, perception being every person has a different perception on life, on different situations. Like, you know, we could all look out the same window and see like 10 people look out the same window and see 10 totally different things. Just depends what you're like filtered into seeing. So perception's all about you understanding how you see the world and know that you can actually manipulate that in a way, and know why you sort of notice certain things like negative thought patterns. Why am I falling into this, like falling into this trap? And sometimes, you know, it's because what we're concentrating on is the world that we create in front of us, without going into too deep, and like working into things like gratitude that can sort of shift your mindset with that, with abundance, etc. And the third week is working like with your thoughts. So different ways that we process life, I suppose. One is by seeing things in front of us. The other one is visualizing stuff. The other is commentary. Okay, so the commentary that we have in our mind, our thoughts, that's what we do. We're just constantly commentating on what is happening in front of us. So sometimes we talk, like the way that we talk to ourselves, we know that like that stimulates like action or procrastination. Like you can have thoughts that go, right, and let's just say for a run, for example, it's like, I can't be asked to have to run, but I know that I need to get up and I know it's going to make me feel great. Right? If you didn't have those sort of thoughts to be able to like push you in action, then you would just sit and procrastinate. Or you make excuses, for example. That's just like in one very small example, but we can start to cultivate new values, which create new thought processes, which create action in our lives as well. Okay, which, you know, that's how we move forward, is through action. So action, and then the last one is visualization, using something that we do a lot. You know, we've all been there, driving in a car on the way to work, and we don't remember any of the journey because we've been in like an alternate reality. So we're visualizing all the time. Like we go and sometimes the visualizations help us, sometimes they don't. So it's using visualization to create a desired future that you want, and try to like lock into future goals. So it's, you know, it's not like the traditional way that you would imagine meditation, like sitting in a cross-legged position with the incense on, like chanting. It doesn't like meditation's a huge subject. It's, you know, like that's what I probably thought when I was in the military. Or when I first went into the army at 20 years old, someone told me I was going to be teaching meditation and mindfulness at 38-year-old. I'd be like, piss off.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what it is. But now, like, it's, you know, it's something that I mold my life around. Regardless if I like taught it, I would do it every day anyway, because it's just taking full responsibility for your thoughts, your behaviors and your actions, and like say, slowing things down.
I find it's something now I've made since I had a few shitty weeks. It's something that now I know, and I've said this to people before, I am a better person, a far better person when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not biting people's heads off. I'm not reacting. I understand what's going on with myself. I'm reflecting what's going on. I'm just I sleep. The big thing for me is my sleep. If I give myself that time to meditate and to understand and to get out of my head, I tend to do it later on in the night. I know some people do it in the morning, just the way I work. I sleep so much better because you're kind of freeing your head up. I find like I'm not having crazy dreams all night. I'm not waking up stressed, and I can get to sleep. It helps my sleep massively. And it's just in general, I'm just a better person when I do it. So now it's kind of a non-negotiable for me. Now I've got exercise, meditation, and I've started doing journaling again. I went back to it. I've gone to and from journaling. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's just all what we're trying to do with yourself and with other things we've got planned through the years, trying to give people the skills and awareness of like what's out there to help you. And like not just what to do when you're struggling, but how to stop yourself, how to create that routine to stop you getting there in the first place. Like what the good people will learn from you will help them when they are struggling. But if they maintain it, it's going to hopefully prevent them from getting back there.
Well, it's having some tools, right? So it's like you're saying, sometimes you will drop off and sometimes, you know, but you know when you are dropping off it. Like, so when you get to a point where you do feel like things become more spacious and slowed down, your central nervous system's like desensitized and not like in a heightened state. It feels different when you sort of start dropping in and you start to see those, you know, like the old patterns start to drop back in there. So what it basically is, you know, the course is learning tools that you can use throughout your life. So like, I mean, in terms of like, you know, selling that to someone is like going, it's not a case of like, I would never say to someone like, come on the course 4 weeks and you'll figure everything out, you know, like it doesn't work like that. But it's like, you can get a massive amount of growth in like the 4 sessions. And some people get like huge amounts of growth, but the main thing is that you go away and you actually have like some form of structure and tools and techniques that you can go, right, I know this is happening, so I can use this. So it's like, you can be reactive with it, but you can also be proactive with it. So it's like a two-sided coin.
And it's like anything as well. It's the more you put in it, the more you get out of it, isn't it? And we say that about everyone's mental health. Nobody can solve your problems for you. Nobody can. Nobody can make you a better person. Only you can do it. And what this will do is give you the skills to then just continue to work on it. And I think hopefully we'll get a good take up on it, and it's something we run multiple times. So I think it'd be a massive help for anybody, to be honest. And I'm looking forward to getting started. And obviously I'm going to be doing it myself, so I'm looking forward to it as well. But I think we've been on about 10-15 minutes there, mate. So we'll just cap it there. And thank you for your time. And I think we've pretty much, that would a lot better than just spending ages doing the write out. So hopefully people got a good understanding of what's going to happen and who you are and what it's all about.
Great. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.